Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Michelle and I have been working together for 12 years, right?
I think even
13?
more actually, but yes.
We are so honored to come together. We've decided that 2025 is a year in which we will offer few potent workshops together. And this is just the beginning. This is a time for you to focus and create direction for the year you want. While we do use the word goal throughout this document a few times, really what we're aiming to do is make a differentiation between the word goal and the word direction. Those of you who've been on retreat with me this past year or two, you know that I've been teaching a lot about the three heart minds of Zen. The first being magnanimous mind, seeing everything in your life, bad, good, whatever, as the element of stability for you, even the bad stuff, even the divorce, even the ailing parent. It is the element of stability. The second of the heart minds is called parental mind or nurturing mind, seeing everything in your life as a parent would, caring for it, caring for your tea, your lip balm, your pen, your journal, your phone, everything, your food, everything with a parental or nurturing mind. And that mind looks at everything not as a goal, but as a direction. I can't have a goal for my son, even though he's 18 and I think I know what I would love for him to do. No, I can hope for direction for him, that he goes in a good direction. So that's a parental mind. The third heart mind of Zen is the joyful mind. And that parental mind, seeing everything with a kind of directed, hopeful gaze, leads to joy. And that's what we're trying to accomplish here. We have a very ornate PDF for you that is editable. So when you open it up, it's now in the chat. You are going to see that you can actually type right in there. Of course, you can print it if you want, but I've been typing into mine for the first time. Normally, I'm like printing everything out, always. This is last year. And this time I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it in the computer and maybe I'll print it out later. The invitation to you as you go through this guide, and we'll walk you through it, Michelle and I together, uh, is to choose the prompts on the left side that feel most resonant to you. You don't have to answer all of the 6 or 7 questions next to every box. Really pick the things that feel important to you, and I'll give you my own examples as we go. I'm really looking forward to this time with you, Michelle. We've come a long way, sister. We've never had an argument in these many 13 years or something. We have always found ways forward in total peace with so much creativity and respect. And it means the world to me that you and I are here together today to start the year. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
So let's get started. Michelle, you want to walk us through the first little bit here and I'll
Yeah.
just.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead. Got a little presentation for y'all, and I will make sure to share the slides with you as well. So don't worry. You're also going to get the recording. So if you just want to sit here and simmer, that is totally fine as well. I've posted the PDF guide link again in the chat. One quick note, if you are going to fill out the PDF on your computer, just make sure to save it to your computer first. Because if you fill it out and you don't save it, you'll actually lose your work, and we don't want that to happen. So just make sure, open it, save it, and then open it on your actual computer to actually work on it, just so that you make sure you don't lose your work. So we're going to go ahead and share right here. All right.
Thank you for that tidbit, by the way, because I'm working online in it.
Save it now. Save
Save
early,
it
save
now.
often.
There's an interesting thing. If you did already start working online, you can go download and then save with your changes. Don't
Yes.
choose without your changes, save with your changes.
Yes. Yes, always save changes. So it's kind of like if you've ever downloaded an IRS form, it's the same kind of situation. You want to make sure you
Yeah.
download it to fill it out. But that way you make sure that you've got your work and you can come back to it later. So that's because with this guide, there's a lot here. And this process is intended, we're going to start the process here, but we're probably not going to finish the process. And so what we want to do is kind of just walk you through it and give you some guidance and some ideas. And then you can take your own time later to go back and fill out the rest of it as long as you want to spend with it. So really, the most important thing is that just spending this time is what's important. It's not even what you put down or what you figure out. It's taking this actual time to consider your future. A lot of people don't do this work. Maybe you set resolutions or intentions or, all these grand ideas, but you don't actually take the time to reflect on what you've done and where you've been. And this time is just so important so that you can figure out where you want to be and what kind of alignment you want for the next year.
And I'm going to chime in and say, what's the best that could happen if you go
The
back,
best that could happen.
Michelle?
Right.
Want to just give a nod to Pete Longworth, PeteLongworth.com, who is my favorite photographer, or one of my two favorite photographers. He and his woman, Alessandra, ask this question often. Instead of saying, what's the worst that could happen, which is like very normal and normalized in our lives, switch it this year and say, what's the best that could happen? And you notice as you say it, your whole chemistry changes. Your face might even turn up naturally into a smile. And suddenly you're under a totally different rock, looking underneath and finding something incredible happening. What's the best that could happen? Thanks, Michelle. And thank you, Pete and Alessandra.
So today, just kind of some ideas for you. This is the time to consider your future, both strategic and energetically. Just take this time. This is what it's for. We're going to take this time to reflect and clarify what your focus and intention will be moving forward in the new year. And this process, like I said before, it's going to be useful beyond just our time together today. You can come back to this at any time, watch the replay, use the guides, the prompts as a way to refine and clarify your vision as you're moving forward through the new year. So here's how this is going to work today. We're going to have 3 parts to this workshop. The first part, we're going to take a look back. We're going to call it reflections and insights. And this is going to reveal kind of about our choices and actions that we've taken over the last year. That'll be the first part. The second part will be about our direction and goals so that we can discover and clarify where we want to put our energy and focus in the new year. And then in the third part, we're going to create a personal roadmap to navigate your future. Again, where you're going to spend your time and energy, what you're going to start doing, keep doing, and stop doing. And just as a reminder, if you need to leave at any time, don't worry about it. We're going to send the replay. You're going to have these guides. So if you need to pop in and out, it is not a problem. We probably will go a little longer than the 90 minutes. We're trying to keep it tight. But just so you know, if you need to leave, it is not an issue at all. So we're going to start now with reflections and insights, taking a look at the past year. So we've kind of decided on these 6 areas of reflection. And again, you don't need to look at all of these, but just kind of want to give you some ideas and space to look at. So the first would be your business or work. And by this, we mean either, you work for someone, you own your business, you work in your home. That's what we mean by work. We look at family and relationships. So friends, family, colleagues, other relationships that you might have. Then we've got moments in exploration. And I actually really like this one. It's the idea of the experiences that you have. It could be travel, adventure, play, connection with community.
It could even be like if you went ice skating and had the best time ever. Small things count.
Small things matter for sure.
Yes.
Health and wellness, right? Physical and mental and your well-being. Financial, right? Your earnings, your savings, your investing, your tracking and noticing of these things. And we had this other category of other because we wanted to, fill in with spiritual, personal development, your learning, your education, or anything else that would kind of fit into an extra category here. So what we're going to do first is select 2 to 3. In fact, it could just be one area of reflection that you're going to focus on for this workshop. Now you can come back later and choose other categories, but there's a lot to reflect on. So we want to make sure that we don't overwhelm ourselves. You don't even need to plan all 6 areas. You may really only want to focus on 1 or 2. So take a look at these categories and choose 1 to 2 to 3 and share with us in the chat which are the areas that you want to explore first.
And I'm occasionally going to give you guys my examples just for fun. Michelle, you can do the same, of course. I went into business and work first because it's the one I wanted to avoid. And I found really some great things that I had just completely not even thought about. From what energized me, I have Hold Nothing, which is the book that's coming out this coming year that took me 4 years to write. It was a totally different book at first. I had to rewrite the whole damn thing this year. Working through that new version was something that I noted. Downsizing my business. Yeah, I didn't want to write it down. And then I realized, of course, yes, there's no way that I could do the volunteer work that I'm doing now if I hadn't downsized my business. It was painful and important. And I wrote that down as something that actually energized me because it did in the end. Reiterating, changing the way that I work, closing down mentorship, and bringing forth Substack instead, which is a much less expensive way for you guys to interact with me on a monthly basis, and also less work and more satisfaction. Recommitting to Glow and really recording 2 classes for every single week of the year. That's a lot of yoga classes that I'm recording right here. What did I learn or achieve or accomplish? Both words I'm sort of trying to turn away from. I achieved peace, more simplicity. I'm sitting more consistently than I ever have in my life, and it's changing who I am. Coming fully into chaplaincy training, into my volunteer work, as I mentioned, writing, serving. So let's look in the chat and see what you guys are up to. Oh, how wonderful. Wow. You guys are going for it. Look at you.
Yeah. I know.
Beautiful. Business
Moments.
and work moments. Nice. I'm just going to
Family.
pick a few. Family relationships, health and wellness, spirituality. Christy, I'm excited to work with you. Tracy Miller, nice to see you here. Takesha, thank you for your beautiful story, business and work. Kate, work, exploration and health. Karen P, business, work, health, wellness, moments. Great. Awesome. Julie, work, moments and other. Nikki, business, family, wellness. Zalia, family, relationships, health and financial. Cool. This is so great. I'm reading them all. Business and work, C. Vargas. Takesha, health and wellness, and definitely financial. Good. Good. Great. Shahan is definitely work and business. Jessamine, hi sister. Business and work, family and relationships, stuck between moments and health. I mean, you can go for both. Don't be, don't hold yourself back. And again, as Michelle mentioned, take your time and work through these things over time. We're going to be coming to you once a quarter this year, Michelle and I, and we are going to stick with this one document and we're going to stay with you. It's sort of like having us as sort of
accountability buddies.
Accountability buddies. I don't love the word coach, but it's kind of like that. So you can expect to see us in 3 months from now, and let's see what's happening. It's business and moments.
Yeah. Biz for
Meg Green,
sure.
business, moments and mom. Good.
Great.
And really, Meg, just because I know that your mom is, in the middle of a potential health crisis, moments and caring for somebody that you love who's ill are one and the same. Really hear me on this, okay, you guys? When you can identify what the gift it is to be with somebody who's not well, as hard as it is, as painful as it is, I'm going to the hospice today. You start to see that the moments you spend with them putting a tray of food or a tray with their teacup and making it really clean, and maybe putting a really pretty napkin on it, and grabbing one leaf from a bush outside. It doesn't even have to be a flower, and laying it across the tray. That, to somebody who's ailing, is a moment. Really stay with that mindset when you're caring for somebody. As hard as it is, you can make moments right in there. Can you tell? This means a lot to me. Lauren Albert, contributing to a world that works for everyone. She's going to focus on her son, the people that
Megan.
the joy, beautiful. Rishma, business and work, moments, health and wellness. Yeah, moments are, it's important, those moments. I wrote down in my doc for moments. Actually, I want to go to business work first. What challenged me? Random acts of carelessness. That's what I wrote. What challenged me at 5 a.m. this morning. And I also wrote, guys, unresolved, since most of you wrote about business and work, under what challenged you in your business and work section at the top of your document, what feels unresolved? Okay. I love that word, and I think it's important to honestly assess, but actually unresolved might not necessarily be a bad thing. As you know, another set of 3 in my studies, the 3 tenets. Not knowing is the first one. Not knowing, bearing witness, and taking action, compassionate action. So not knowing is actually a practice. That's the not knowing mind. I don't know, no sabemos nada. And who knows? So it's okay to not know. It's okay to write down what feels unresolved, and also to be cool with it, and also to know that maybe it's okay to never know.
So with that, so with that, should we take the next 5 minutes
Let's do it.
and work on one area, 1 or 2 or 3 areas, and start with the what energized me. So in the document, you're going to see the top box is what energized me on that area of reflection. And then the bottom is what challenged me. So we're going to take 5 to 7 minutes, and let's focus first on the what energized me. And we've added some prompts here. Again, you don't have to respond to these questions. They're just kind of thought starters. So when you're thinking about a category, who and what and how did I help? Who or what brought me joy? What did I learn? What did I implement or create? What results did I achieve or accomplish? And what habits or routines served me well? So I want to start just thinking like, oh, what got me so excited? Who did I help? Where did I see this joy? Where did I cultivate this? What did I create? So let's take about 5 minutes or so and just focus on the what energized me for the categories, the areas of reflection that you selected.
And as a side note too, if you are wanting your chats to be seen by all people, go ahead and look right above where you would type in a message in the blue bar where it says host and panelists. Click on that bar and click over to everyone. And that way everyone will see your chats. Pete and Alessandra, Alyssa, Pamela. Oh no, Pamela's got it. Nadia Nedelchev and Mary. You're just typing to us. Andrea Gerard, nice to see you, sister. You know what I have right here, Andrea? Your card. Right here. With your whole letter that I've read more than once. Thank you so much. I keep it right here for the rainy moments. I have some fun notes, Michelle, for the challenged section.
Oh, I bet you do.
Really funny.
It's so good to do this work because, like you said, you remember the things that you forgot that you did. And if it helps, one thing to do, maybe when you're reviewing this later, is to go back and look at your calendar. If you've kind of forgotten, you can go back and see, oh, what meetings did I have, or what trips did I take, or what things did I create in a certain time frame? And we forget sometimes because we don't document. That's why this process is so important, so that we do document what we've actually done.
And a couple of you are asking, this is a webinar style so that the recording is nice and clean. We have found over the years that people watch this well into the year. So that we do this on webinars so that it's just a clean recording. There's no other videos on except for Michelle and myself. Maggie has a really sweet note here in the chat too. She uses her photo app to look back over each month and remember what she was up to. So if you're like drawing a blank right now, you can go ahead and go through your phone and just see, oh yeah, wow. I had that beautiful walk yesterday with a dear friend that I forgot about because so many things have happened this morning already. There was something that happened this week that I want to share. I was in the car with my son, which is rare because he drives now, but he came with me to do some errands, and I went to pick him up or do something with him. And all of a sudden he was coming down on me. He couldn't make sense of the work that I'm choosing in my life to do, the work with the dying people and sit in hospice and be very still and to volunteer with kids who have lost their parents to death or deportation. He just couldn't wrap his mind around it. And there was this sense of contraction. And I really sat still with it for a couple of moments, and I gave myself empathy, NVC style. I went through the 4 steps. I said, how human of me to feel this way. I was feeling really sad. And then I said it out loud to him, and I made the request that maybe he could come to me with a little more kindness. I never lost it. He started to get a little more elevated, and I was like, you could have me as a temper tantrum, as you used to many years ago, or you could have this. We're having a conversation. I'm not offended by what you're saying. I understand that you don't understand why I'm choosing this, and I can only imagine, I can guess that it would be weird. And I started to identify more with the stillness inside of my body rather than the forms that were happening and the words that were being passed from him to me and me to him. And I offer you this because this is one of the things that I wrote down that energized me this year, was identifying with the stillness inside of my body, more so than the angst, the anguish, the anxiety. A couple hours later, Jonah came to me. He walked in the house, and I was just still the same person. I hadn't, like, my chemistry hadn't spiked at all. And that to me is like one of the biggest accomplishments of my life, honestly. And he said, I realize that I am who I am because you are who you are. And I want to thank you. And I'm sorry for before. And I just about died. And he walked closer to me, and he's like a foot taller than I am. And he walked over to me, and I wrapped my arms around him, and I put my head on his chest. And if you have a grown boy and you can put your head on his chest as a mom or dad, you know what this feels like. It is like the most unreal feeling of a lifetime. I wish it. And I just cried. And he managed not to cry, but I could see he was on the verge. And he left. And I called out, thank you so much. And then I filled in this part of the worksheet to note this. That was not only sort of one of the victories, but also a moment, like part of the adventure. And I feel so complete with this. So just a story to share. It doesn't matter if you have a story like this and it didn't turn out with an apology, like it's still an accomplishment to have an interaction where you're not reactive and you're just responding. even if you don't know how it's going to go, even if it's not resolved.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm reading all of this. Beautiful.
Mm.
Beautiful. There is a teaching too about staying open. You know, there was a comment that was made in that car about staying open even when you want to close. I've taught this before countless times in mentorship and in my team and otherwise. But think about that. That too, if you manage to do that even once this year, is also one of the things that can energize you and also the people around you. You managing to stay open in the moment when you want to close, open to more information. What else is true here? I will say that for the rest of my life. What else could be true?
Takesha's noting that going through the photos is such a good idea, because she forgot all the fun things she did early in the year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Veronica, thank you. Judy, Pete, and Alessandra, nice. Pamela, totally. Can we have the time to return? I need to put the commentary on mute
Mhm.
so I can
Yeah.
process versus listen to dialogue. Yes. You know what? For the next round of questions, I'll just be totally silent. I thought it would be helpful, but James is the same way. He can't listen to me talk right at the same time. I know it
So
will.
with that, I think we should actually move to the next. And remember, you can come back to this anytime. But let's move on from what energized me to start to think about what challenged me. And so we'll if you want, actually, we'll go for another 5 minutes on the what challenged me aspect. And if you want to mute, feel free to mute, so that if folks want to share their commentary, we can do that as well.
Cool. And I think Rhiannon, I hope you're here. Rhiannon, will you jump in the chat and just let me know that you've made it in? I'm seeing your email that you were having trouble, but now that you made it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're all so different. Yeah. I personally can't work with stuff going on. I can't work in coffee shops, so I completely understand. I love the share from Amy. She's sharing a moment, her 64th birthday with her mom 2 days before she left this earth, sitting in the sunshine in her wheelchair as I fed her bits of chocolate cookie. She smiles at me. I smile back, a gift this moment. Few words exchanged between us, few words needed, joy mixed with tears to help her with her homegoing. Wow.
Yeah,
Beautiful. Thank you.
so much.
Mm.
Mm. This is kind of great. Julie, I wish we had another hour and I could go through where you're giving your power away in your sentence. Will you do me a favor and email me? Copy and paste this sentence. I'm going to give it back to you in a way that will make it a little easier to understand and a little easier to find empathy for yourself. Salema, I wonder if the word is disorder. I wonder if it's upleveling instead. Mary, great work. I'm going to go ahead and lower my shade.
Kate would like clarification on the note, where is more practice warranted?
Great. So, pardon. This is a way for me to be easier on myself. Instead of saying, where did you screw it up? Like, I need more practice with this. It took me 10 years squarely to not have a temper tantrum when confronted. From the moment I decided I don't want to do this anymore to actually not doing it was 10 years. I had to practice. So where is more practice warranted for you?
I'll also say too, for me, more practice is identifying the spaces where I want to learn, where I may need to do more training, where I may need to study with someone in order to move in a different direction.
And from my seat here, Michelle, you figuring out that you want to understand something and then the period of time between that moment and taking the class and knowing it,
Mhm.
like pretty short.
The ones that I share, yeah. There's some great shares here.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. So Gurjinder, the way to do that, to have more empathy for people who are addicted, is to just practice having empathy for yourself. You know, how human of you to feel this way, how human of you to feel frustrated and sad and anxious about this, how human of you.
Mm.
And then you can start to look across the way and see, wow, how human of that person to be addicted.
Mm.
To want to numb whatever is difficult. How human of them. And then suddenly all the sort of like static, frazzled energy softens. There's one heart beating here, folks. One.
Mhm. Mm.
Reading now and being quiet.
Sylvie, yes. One area, one or two at most. We want to just kind of have the practice here. And then as you have more time, you can revisit the other areas later. So there's a lot to kind of consider, even with one area. Mhm. A lot of caregivers here too. It's tough.
I'm reading Susanna's comment. It's hard for her to put into words what challenged me. Just write down. You just did. Cut and paste. Put that into the box. And a year from now, you're going to look at this and you're going to say, well, losing your father was really sad. And now he's everywhere without a form, watching over you, taking care of you, with you all the way. I'm not trying to heal or solve this, but I'm just presenting other facets, Susanna. Your only son left home, like, he made it all the way. And he left. You know how many people I know whose kids don't leave? And they're addicted. And they're a liability in some ways. He left, he's on his own, how beautiful. And then your husband announced he wants to separate in a year from now. You're probably going to think, well, that was the best thing that ever happened to me too. I'm not making light of it, but that's been my experience across time, dozens, hundreds of cases where the friend who is devastated becomes the friend who is empowered. I'm just saying, not solving.
Emma's writing about putting off the dealing with the financials. That's such a huge one. If you sort that out, that helps sort out a lot of the other stuff for sure. Mm.
Elizabeth. Yeah, ignoring the internal intuition and then doing things you don't want to do.
Eric is noting that the last question, what am I accepting or allowing that feels out of alignment as she's navigating family time, is really resonating.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And Darcy, downsizing. Yeah, downsizing is not a bad word anymore. That's a sign of somebody who is understanding what's needed and doing the needful.
Mhm.
Time management.
Mm. Elena, do you have any notes around if someone's feeling shame around the finances, how to reframe and revise that?
Yeah, I went through that for a really long time. I think one of the biggest things that I overcame was that financial shame. I didn't come from money. Nobody gave me money. I had to deal and earn it by myself. And the shame that I felt was me kind of running away from looking at the numbers every day. I have to go back quite a ways. It's about 10 years ago. I just wouldn't look at my checkbook or a bank statement. It would come and I would just rip it up. Just hope for the best. And I learned from a dear mentor that one of the things that I could do in order to up-level that whole scene was to look at the numbers at least every other day, if not every day. So I go into the little apps on my phone and I look at the credit card number and I'll make sure that this is a correct charge. I've caught a few things that have happened over the years where it's not me. Look at the bank statements every other day. Go into the app on the phone, just look at the amount. And by looking at the amount, I became more financially literate. I swear, it's not, I didn't have to take a class. I just became like curious, like, okay, well, I'm opening this every month. What's this button? What's this drop down? What's this tool? Oh, I can see all the statements for the whole year by month. Wow. And that changed the way that I related to money back then. I still have some glitches. Like James noticed something the other day that I said that it was like just a residue of this whole matter. And I'm still working through it. But grounding in by looking at the bank statement as much as you would look at your, deep Buddhist teachings, or whatever it is that you're studying, is part of your health, your mental health, your nervous system health.
Mhm.
Oh, and Happy Money is amazing. Yes. If you listen to Happy Money, you'll probably never have a scandal with finances again. Happy Money is such a great book by Ken Honda. It's so happy. It's a happy book. I loved it. My architect gave it to me and it was awesome.
I will say too, one thing that helps me with this is to kind of take the emotion out of it. And if you know me, you know I love a spreadsheet. And just like we're going to share some monthly check-ins for yourself, one of the monthly check-ins could be the overall financial health. So I literally just write, what's my credit card debt? What's my investment at? What's my savings at? So I can just see the number very plain on a spreadsheet. There's no emotion. There's nothing else attached to it. I literally handwrite it in the cell every month. And especially with investments, you don't want to necessarily look every day, but that every month shows me that I'm on track. The debt's paid off, the investments are growing, it takes a lot of the emotion out of it, because it's just a couple of numbers. Mhm.
Give one more minute and then we'll sort of move on.
Mhm.
Sherry, thank you. You know what's fascinating, Sherry? The way that you spell your name as you sign your name is different from your name on Zoom. Just so you know.
Mhm.
And you're welcome. And Lauren, you're writing only to host and panelists, but I'll say this. Be alert that if somebody has caused you suffering, just be alert to whether or not there is narcissism in the picture. In that case, love is not the way through, but actually tending to yourself and making the appropriate response to that mental illness. Just
The Happy Money book is Ken Honda. We'll share it in the show notes as well after the session.
grab a link right now. I'm just going to grab it on Amazon because it's easy, but this way you'll see the, not a huge fan of Amazon, but at least you'll see the cover and know where you want to get it. And that's Happy Money, that link right there.
Mhm.
Too many people texting me privately about this. Go to Dr. Ramani on YouTube, Ramani. In the case of narcissism, you most likely have to delete, block, become a gray rock. No response whatsoever. That's the only way. Cut off the supply.
Beatrice is writing just a quick question as well, about organizing resources for organizing money and income and cash. So one of the best books I ever read many years ago was Ramit Sethi's I Will Teach You to Be Rich. And he's also got a great Instagram, also a Netflix show that, especially if you're in a relationship with someone, where he deals with partnership and money. And it's fascinating. But his book is really one of the best ones to set a really strong foundation, to set up your savings, to set up your investments. And it's written in a way that it's not overwhelming. Probably the best $12 you'll spend, or get it from the library. Yeah. And Elaine is sharing his, I think he has 10 rules of finances. Mhm.
Yeah, that's just a handful of them that I was able to pull off Google very quickly.
Mhm.
But that, I remember when you shared that with me, it was multiple, maybe a decade ago. And I
Yeah.
boy, was I pissed off. I was like, oh, what does it mean? And then I just started doing what it said.
Mhm. I think the automated savings was the big one for me. So it was harder 10, 12 years ago to do this, but now it's fairly easy to, if you get paid, especially if you get paid on a regular basis, which some of us don't, we're, if we're entrepreneurs, but automating into, sub accounts. So saving for insurance or saving for, education or saving for savings, but automating a lot of that. So as the money comes in, it automatically gets parceled out to where you need to save it. So when it's in sub buckets, you don't see it, you don't spend it. So that to me was one of the best learnings and one of the easier ways to start, frankly, saving on a regular basis. Mhm. Mhm.
Ramit Sethi, does he have a site, Michelle? Let me just see.
Yeah, it's actually, I will teach you to be rich. It's a memorable name.
Got it. Got it here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna include the link. Hermano. There we
Mhm.
go.
Yes, we will be saving the notes and links and sharing that with you as well. All right, Lena, should we
Let's go on.
yeah, so move on. So again, you can revisit these. I know they're I hate the word juicy, but they are kind of some juicy prompts to kind of consider and reflect. But using these as prompts to kind of go back through and review all of those different categories, I think will be very, very helpful. So we're going to move on to the second section here where we've done kind of this reflection and introspection, and now we want to discover and clarify where we want to focus, where we want to put our energy and attention. So in this next exercise, so as you go down, I believe it's page 7 or 8, we're going to identify, those feelings or experiences that you just wrote about. And again, you can certainly just focus on the one category or other categories. What are the lessons, feelings, or experiences that you wish to carry forward or that you also wish to address in the new year? So if you want to take a few minutes and put that information into the boxes provided, I believe it's on page 7 or 8 of the workbook. So these insights you're going to put into this section here from what you discovered in the earlier section.
We're purposely being quiet so that you can work.
Julie's writing, what's a good approach to decide what to carry forward and what to work in?
It's a really good question. One of the things that I do when I have such questions is I actually just close my eyes, take a few breaths, try and lengthen my exhalation, and ask and let my heart answer. It sounds really corny, but that's what I do. And I always have something clear. And sometimes it comes in the form of my mother's voice. And sometimes I can sort of hear my grandmother, Lena, go this way. It just ask your heart and trust what you hear. Trust the first answer, sort of like multiple choice, don't question it. Oh, thanks, Pete and Alessandra. I know that's you. Mm. Kelly is talking only to us. Kelly, is it okay that if I say your thing out loud, or did you mean to text everyone? Okay. I want to work on the areas of jealousy, resentment, patience, integrity, and truth telling.
Mm.
Yeah, that to me sounds like my brain. And it sounds like somebody who's a recovering addict, and I'm proud of you, from one recovering addict to the other. Yes. Yeah, right. Jane, also you're texting just to us, sweet one. And thank you, pal. Just radical honesty, totally. Dominique, merci. Anyone want to share? What insights
Mm.
are you having here? What matters to you most? More collaboration with others, very nice.
Mhm.
Mhm. Great. I'll tell you what, collaborating with others was always uncomfortable, and then it wasn't. I just put myself to it. And now it's the best thing that I do.
Mm.
Beautiful Lorraine. Jessica Valentine. Claire. You just keep, guys, just keep going back to yourself. Keep having empathy for yourself. When you're really full of your own empathy, then that empathy can brim over the top and can overflow into other people. But you can't have it until you have it for yourself. Like, how human of me, how human of me to feel this way. And then suddenly I'm looking at the other person going, wow, how human of them. Shauna, beautiful.
I love Heather's more discernment on who I align myself with professionally. That's a really key one. And when
Yeah,
you find somebody good, you stick around, right, Elena?
I had to learn that too. Those are hard lessons to learn, but you do learn them, and that's very good, very good. And investing in a gym membership there's literally nothing better than that. I invested in a really good weight bench and a collection of dumbbells and kettlebells, and I've never felt better in my life. And one of those things around that, really subtle, but being flexible with when the workout happens. Like, for a while, it would happen first thing in the morning. And then because of my training, I now have to go to the Zendo, which is 12-minute drive away, and sit from 7 to 8 every day, most days of the week. So that changed my routine completely. And now I'm doing the workout usually before dinner, which is wild and also great. Like, I'm sleeping like a rock and digesting my food. Sometimes I'm even doing the workout after dinner, which some would think is crazy, but just being flexible was one of my accomplishments this year. Rocio, finding a way to work less and receive more. Great. When is Rocio's podcast coming? It's coming this year.
February, I believe. Yeah. I have to look at the schedule again, but I believe February.
Marte. Putting the non in Elizabeth's non-negotiables. Oh, yeah. C. Vargas, changing your views on making money. Amy Jones, clear communication, speaking your truth, difficult conversations with ease. I strongly recommend, if you are really interested in that, Judith and Lizzie Lassiter, who are my family, are giving a class on NVC in January. JudithHansonLassiter.com. Just go to her site. I swear, you'll never be sorry you took that class. And then Judith and I will teach again in September, I'm pretty sure. Just following the chat. Alice, the class is the NVC class. That's right. Yeah, if I'd said no to Judith and NBC, my family would look very different. So say yes to collaborations, totally. Wow. Okay, great. So you've identified the lessons, feelings, and experiences you're wanting to carry forward. You've written some of the insights in, I'm pretty sure.
Mhm.
Um,
So I think we're ready to move on to the next exercise,
yeah,
which
and
is
again, this is ongoing, so don't feel weird
Don't
if you feel
stress.
like, oh, wait, I'm not done. Wait. Like, hold
So,
this.
so on the next page, what we want to do is we're going to brainstorm now on the things that you do want to accomplish in your areas of focus. So again, can be, simple one word phrases. Think forward to if you're thinking about it's next year, right? It's this time next year. What's going to make you feel so proud? What did your daily life look and feel like? What emotions, experiences, or qualities did you invite into your life this year? And with whom have you deepened your connections? And how did you nurture those relationships? So, those are questions to ponder on this next work exercise on that. I believe it should be page 9.
Vero, I just posted the book by Judith. There's a little Amazon link there. Even if you don't buy on Amazon, at least you can see what the book looks like. I also have it in my bookshop too. And Lauren, I'm reading your private DM. Noted. Yeah. Just email me if you need any support. And in the reflection, in our document, we're now on page 9. Okay, you're imagining that it's this time next year. And Michelle, we actually didn't update the questions, the sort of like from the
Oh,
past questions on the direction page. So what you're looking at, the direction is you're really looking at this from the perspective of this time next year. What did all of this look like? You're kind of seeing into the future, as it were, and setting a course for yourself, which is nice. Sorry, I didn't catch that. MM. What did your daily life look and feel like? What emotions or qualities did you invite? Oh, the word "to" can come out too. Funny.
I'll tweak it afterward.
Cool, cool. Great. And we'll send, I mean, you're working in your guidebooks now, but we'll send an updated version just so that it's all aligning.
This is an interesting question. How do you deal with the fear that none of this might actualize?
So sweet, Justina. How human of you. Lindsay, thank you so much for being here from Japan. Love you. Um, you know, for a long time, I did this practice where I would every day say what happened that day first thing in the morning. And the rule was that if it didn't happen, I would just say at the end of the day when I checked in with everything and sort of did my recap, I would just say, not yet, tomorrow, next week. You know what I mean? I would never say, no, I failed, because I'm a continuous failure and we all are. We're all going from failure to failure and loving ourselves anyway and taking care of ourselves and our business and our family anyway. So there's no real such thing as like an actual failure. It's just moving from day to day, knowing that what needs to happen will happen. This very black and white thinking, I've let it go. I'm done with it.
Mm.
Done with it. I hope that helps, Justina.
Emma's got a question here. Actually, it's interesting. I'm seeing a pattern of folks dealing with boundaries around time and devoting time to creative time, which I think is so, so important. Emma writes, this is one area I often miss after teaching in admin. And I appreciate how Elena builds in painting, reading, resting into your days, which I then think informs your work.
Yeah, it does. It does. I think you have to, it's kind of the first module of Simplify, where you look at your calendar and you see what's on there. It's a whole bunch of shit that you didn't intend.
Mm.
And then you sort of go through it and say, okay, Wednesdays, the whole afternoon is mine. That's when I'm going to do my thing. Or whatever. It could be 3 days, it could be 5 days, it could be one day, Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning. I've ended up building in the entire morning. I don't start anything really until 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning now, some days later. And I go and I sit, I maybe have breakfast, I maybe help clean over there at the Zen Center, and I come back and I do a couple of other things around here. I make tea, serve myself tea. Like that was never happening before. Here's a real life Shahan. It's so hard. I have my yoga, I work, I knit, I sew. I also have to tend to house. Yeah, so look at that like a work schedule. Like, okay, which days are you going to be doing this? Which days are you going to be doing that? Tending to house, I really do twice a week. And one day floors, one day bathrooms. You know, like just make it simple. The more we look at everything as like this big, grand, ominous, whoa. And the less we think, okay, this thing on this day and this thing on this day, like little tiny bits at a time, the harder it is. We have to take things in small doses. It's like people, tasks, creativity, and work all need to be taken in small doses, even your favorite humans. Small doses. 15 minutes of art every day from Valerie. Losing faith that things could change. Interesting, Dominique. I mean, everything is your choice. And how human of you to feel locked in. I understand that. And really, the feeling is confused, and locked in is not a feeling. The feeling is confused and anxious and afraid. The more I work with NVC, the more like restful my nervous system is, because we say, when I feel like, when you hear yourself say feeling like something, you know you're not in a feeling. If you hear yourself saying, I feel punished. That's not a feeling. That implies the presence of somebody else. I feel sad, feel angry, I feel frustrated, feel anxious. Those are feelings.
I think one thing that I'm seeing here is focused on people want more creative time. And one thing that's always been helpful for me is the notion that you come first, in that maybe spending 15 minutes or 30 minutes at the start of your day so that
Nice.
you tend to yourself first. It's not selfish, it's realistic. There's a woman that I work with that she's got a saying that the fires don't really, you have to usually be put out before 10 a.m. right? Because if you've worked a job where you're answering emails or you're dealing with kids or things, like a lot of those fires happen later in the day. So if you can spend that first most creative part of your day on yourself, maybe it's your writing or your artwork or your practice or something that's going to nourish and nurture you, you're going to at least have that time. Like I start my day every day with like a walk, usually a 30 or 40-minute walk. And that's for me. And then maybe I work out or I write or do something, because I get so many ideas and I'm away from the distractions, the doom scrolling. If you really take a time assessment of where you're spending your time, that's another really, really helpful exercise to realize, oh, I just, we call it rotting, right? You rot in bed for an hour, like doing this. And like, I could have been walking, I could have been reading, I could have been doing something for me that was nourishing. So even that 15 minutes, I love a 5-minute cleanup. Like I love to set my phone in 5 minutes. I'm like, what can I clean in 5 minutes? What can I fold? And it becomes kind of a game and it makes life a little bit more fun. And I think that's one thing, we don't have a lot of fun when we're taking care of everybody else. How can we infuse more fun and creativity into our own lives? Mhm.
To that point too, Caitlin, love you. Alyssa has a comment that she would like to write or create daily. I haven't had a television for 30 years. And people say, oh my God, you're an alien. You do so many different things. It's like, I haven't had a television for 30 years. I watch maybe 1 or 2 series a year on Netflix. I'm kind of obsessed with Die Kaiserin. I'm just saying. Um, Bridgerton happened over here. Like, I determine when and how. We watch lots of old films here. We're in the middle of a Hitchcock festival. But otherwise, I'm just taking care of myself, or I'm resting, or I'm working. So I'm not an alien. I'm not some like special like human with extraterrestrial skills. I'm just not wasting time. And that's a real thing. And yeah, sometimes, as Julie is saying, when we get some more done, if the Wi-Fi was offshore, you can turn your Wi-Fi off in your computer and just write into a document and not into a window.
I mean, I've got friends that take Instagram off their phone on the weekends. Like I know some of us need it for work and things for that, but you can take it off your phone. I hide stuff into folders. So I have to work just that much harder to get to it. Right. So we can do things to ourselves. So Takesha's like, I have a free write device. Yeah. I mean, a lot of my friends that are writers, they'll use a site called 750 words where it's just, you can just free form write every day without all the distractions of maybe, if you're normally like checking a million websites, if you have something that allows you to write without all the distractions and you can write for 15 or 20 minutes every day and just free form, that's going to start to spark and spur the creativity. And if you get into that daily routine, it becomes a natural part of your day. Mhm.
Part of what, as we move on, part of what Michelle and I have done with our own accounts and contacts is we just unfollowed things that feel chaotic to us.
Mhm.
Call it whatever you want, but I don't follow anything that to me, when I see it, feels chaotic or confusing. I only follow what feels supportive.
Mhm.
So it's pretty simple in my life. When I go on Instagram, I'm pretty much only going to see my friends and, the random like pair of Japanese pants because they know me now. Um,
Mhm.
And that's, so I know that when I go on to post, I'm not going to be met with some craziness. I'm going to
Mm.
be met with the things that I want to see if I have to go on at all.
If it's helpful, something I did last week was, again, I love to set my phone timer for 5 or 10 minutes. And I went through and I looked at my least followed accounts and most followed accounts, because you can see that on Instagram. And I literally clicked unfollow for the ones that I know just suck time and energy away from me and they're not positive. I
Yeah.
unfollowed. If it's not in front of you, you're not going to see it. You're not going to be tempted. So knowing if you're still going to be on there, that's such a good exercise. It could be a person that triggers you. I know I have many of those, right? The folks that you see, you don't have to be. I have several friends that have completely left Instagram. And so we go on walks. We text each other. Like, you can actually declutter this digital life so that you can have more spaciousness.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a time thief. I mean, it's correct. It's such a time thief. Um, and that's why we don't feel like we have the creative time, is because we're actually spending so much of it, myself included, so much of it on these devices. So we're away from tactile experiences, physical experiences, right? That's why retreats are so amazing, because you're like, I got so much done by 6 a.m. Why is it? Because I put my phone in the room. Yeah. Mhm.
Mhm.
All
All
right.
right. Let's
Move on to section 3.
wait, thank you.
So after this work, we're going to move into alignment and action so that you can create your own kind of personal roadmap to navigate the new year. So in this first section, we're going to take these last 2 exercises that we did. And I kind of want you to just look back and forth at these insights, the ones that you intended to carry forward and address, and the things that you want to accomplish. And ask yourself, are these insights aligned with the direction that you want to take? So take some time to look at these 2 sheets and really reflect. Is this the way that you want to go? And feel free to revise your answers, modify, add to them so that you can be in alignment with where you want to go.
Under my carry forward, I have weights and protein. Sitting and stillness.
So the pages to reflect on are pages 8 and 9. So it's not a new page. So we're just looking back at what we've just done.
So nice to feel everyone working so diligently.
Zalia, we're just reflecting on the past 2 pages, so it's not a new page. So we're looking at pages 8 and 9. Mm.
So interesting, the things that I'm realizing. I mean, we wrote this. I just am so amazed at how many things I didn't think about. Tips or recommendations for prioritizing commitments that align with both personal and professional goals. Valerie, you're typing just to hosts and panelists, just so you know, if you want everybody to see it, just switch to everyone. Ensuring I stay focused and avoid distractions. I have to go and sit 5 times a week. I sit for an hour in the morning, and face my own mind, and identify more with the empty stillness inside of me than with the form of me and all the things that I do. And that changes everything. Oh, Suzanne. Oh, God, it's so good to see you. Becoming a morning person. Yeah, you know, I had to shift my circadian rhythm. I started doing morning practices like jumping and dancing and putting on loud music in my headphones when everyone else is asleep and just dancing and putting my face in the sun, even next to a window with as much light as possible to reset my circadian rhythm. And now I'm tired at 9 and I'm asleep by 9:30. 10 is late. But yeah. Yeah.
It can be hard too when you're married to someone or partnered with someone who is not a morning person, as I am. I find I have to get out of the house and I go for my walk. That is very, very helpful.
Yeah.
And the bed earlier, that's a tough one, but it does make a huge, huge difference. I'm a big believer in naps too. Like a 20-minute nap fixes a lot of things. I don't know why we fought them as kids.
And I found for me personally, it's an Ayurvedic thing too, but I found for me that I actually will sit or do nidra for 20 minutes rather than like lay on a bed on my side and go to sleep. That sort of aware rest seems to enervate me more than an actual nap.
And I'm going to share Mark Holtzman is amazing for Yoga Nidra. He teaches online a couple times a week. Yeah, sleep is the next big thing, honestly, I think.
Yeah. And, you know, it's okay that nidra leads to sleep. Like, it's okay to fall asleep. Don't be hard on yourself if you find yourself snoring, which I do often. But at least it started with this very restorative, neurologically nurturing practice. And then sleep happened.
There's another rule that I've implemented in this last year: no work after 10. And I know that sounds crazy, 10 p.m., but Elena will tell you, we used to text very late. And
we were kids. We were
kids. Yeah. It's not so case anymore, but just the mental rule, and usually it's earlier than that, but the no work after 10, no checking emails, no, answering stuff, like setting a boundary for yourself and I know there's a lot of folks here who are similar, type A, I gotta get it done, gotta get ready for the morning. If you review at the end of your day or close to the end of your day, making a list of what you need to accomplish the next day, that makes you feel like, okay, I'm prepped for the next day. I will sometimes look at my calendar. I will, just to make sure I'm not going to miss a call in the morning or something, but that kind of just simple rule, like just simple rules, nothing after 10, like 10 in the morning. Before that is for me, and 10 after 10 at night is for me. So just simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a point of diminishing returns to keep grinding into the night. This is very, very true. Very true, especially the older I get. Mhm. Yeah. Note to self, more naps and Nidra. Yeah, if that's what you get out of this, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Mhm. Great. Mm.
Rosemary Watola Traumer wrote a beautiful poem that went out today. That's called Unresolution, that I want to read. You guys ready for that? Can I read? Is that annoying?
Mm.
Okay. And Lauren, again, you're only emailing host and panelists, just so you know. No work after 10, how you broke the pattern. The breaking of the pattern of work after 10 is waking up in the morning, getting your face in some light, getting your body and your lymph moving. That's how you reset your circadian rhythm. That's how you become tired at 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And when you feel that first doze, you respect it and you get in bed. Because if you stay up past that doze in the evening, then you've just shot up a bunch of cortisol into your bloodstream from your adrenals, and you are breaking the bank. You are literally taking savings out of your bank account in your adrenals and wasting it. You're putting it into some fast fashion. It's terrible. Okay, Unresolution. And I'll read it twice. Rosemary Watola Traumer, one of my favorite poets of all time. Because after all these years of focusing on the goal as if happiness is a thing I attain or a place I might finally reach, now I thrill when I see through the myth of arrivals. I see where I have grasped and clutched and clawed and scrabbled to be somewhere not where I am. Not that I regret it. The memory of grabbing helps me feel how beautiful it is each time the hand opens. Like a morning to what is here, opens as if the opening itself is what I am here to do. Every day, Unresolution. Because after all these years of focusing on the goal as if happiness is a thing I attain or a place I might finally reach, now I thrill when I see through the myth of arrivals. I see where I have grasped and clutched and clawed and scrabbled to be somewhere not where I am. Not that I regret it. The memory of grabbing helps me see how beautiful it is each time the hand opens like a morning to what is here. Opens as if the opening itself is what I am here to do. Life is so beautiful. It's in the chat. Now you've got it there. That's a keeper. Let's move to the next page. I think that feels like a good timing.
So we recognize that, our time and energy are finite. How many of us have talked about in the chat, we struggle with boundaries, we struggle with time management, we struggle with, not having the time to really devote to what we want to devote it to. So you've just created that list of things that you want to focus on. And so now we need to find balance by asking ourselves, what can I stop? What will I start? And what might I continue? So inside your guidebook on page 10, we've got another guide, another page where you can outline what you're going to start, continue, and stop. So we'll take a few more minutes here. And I'll make sure in the notes from the replay, you'll have all the links to the books, the poems, all the references we mentioned, so that you'll have access to those things and all the links that we talked about on the call.
I'm going to send you guys this list from Dr. Ben Kim, who sent around a list today also. That was just perfect list for 2025. I'll send it to you, Michelle, and we'll put it into the email. It's
Perfect.
beautiful. I'm going to read it out loud while you're writing. Actually, I'm going to let you write first. Yeah. It's a really good list. Rewarding daily habits.
Pete and Alessandra, they're asking, how do the questions to consider on the side relate to this part? Again, these are reflection questions to help you think about what will you'll start doing, continue doing, and stop doing. So, perhaps you need tools or support, remembering your focus, considering the habits or routines that will help you, considering what might be an obstacle.
I mean, just for fun, a list of habits that you might want to take on. Minimize or eliminate sugar. It's a really good habit. It's going to change everything in your chemistry. If you just do that one thing. Prioritize intake of high quality protein rich foods over those that are rich in carbohydrates. That's a great habit. That will change your brain. That will change your brain. Number 3, take all of your major joints through their natural passive and active ranges of motion as much as possible. So yoga covers most of that. But you could add big arm circles in the mornings. That's a great way to reset your circadian rhythms, to wave your arms around. Take your shoulders and supply your lymph nodes here. 4th great habit, do strength training. Prioritize movement that strengthens your legs and your core. Anything that helps your capacity to lift and push and carry heavy things, great habit. Aim to get high quality sleep, great habit. Minimize or eliminate alcohol, recreational drugs. If you can, with the help of a professional, minimize or eliminate prescriptions if that's appropriate. Because those things are taxing your liver, also taking from the bank account of your liver and your kidneys. And we've all had to do that at some point. A seventh habit, strive to improve skills or add new ones. We've talked about this. Sports, languages, anything that challenges your brain to do other things than what you're used to. Cooking. One of the wonderful habits that I'm practicing for several years now is the habit of trying to make life better for those around me while also making my life better. So bringing care to people in a way that helps me feel cared for. Not leaving out the second part. And usually that is just this simple. Usually that just looks like giving my full attention, because when I give my full attention to caring about somebody else, I feel cared for in those moments. Another one, breathing slowly and deeply throughout the day. Not just when you're practicing, when you're working. That's why I keep oils on my desk, so that I remember. Another, number 10, give thanks for your blessings. Remind yourself that when we lack humility, this is Dr. Ben Kim, the world will find a way to humble us. So we stay humble, practice humility. 11, a really good habit, pray for others to feel safe and fulfilled. How great. It sort of falls into that category of making life better for those around us. And number 12 and final, look forward to every opportunity that comes your way to be patient and forgiving. Look forward to the chances to practice patience and forgiveness. Wow. They will come. And Alessandra, the personal roadmap, insights and direction overall. I mean, you're gonna go back and forth. It'll be some of the areas you chose, and then suddenly you'll have some insight about some area that you didn't actually choose or think about yet. Write it down. And feel free to go back and edit and amend and
revisit.
revisit. Yeah. And so Michelle and I are gonna meet you again in 3 months. A rough week for this would be, if today is the December 30th, January, February, be like the end of March. Let's say March 31st, Monday. You want to go like that, Michelle?
Yeah, I'll have to just double check, but yeah, should be good.
Yeah, I think that should work. You just let me know if that works for you.
Actually, you could do it while you're here.
Yeah, I mean,
Fun.
I'm putting it to my calendar right now. Great reflection, direction.
Margaret, if you scroll up, Margaret had a note here. I just want to make sure we address, if you had a big family, scary health hurdle to jump last year and you did it and you're proud of it, but you're not sure you fully processed it because you just took it one day at a time, what do you suggest to do?
I would write. One of the things I like to do is pick like a very, very specific moment in time. I did this in Softening Time, where there was this one moment where my mom, she had just gotten her stem cell transplant. She was in the loo. Like, I don't know why I chose this moment to write about, but it opened up this whole understanding. She was in the loo, she was passing out, she needed food. And I picked that moment and I literally just pulled it apart like this. And I looked at every single facet of it. The rotary phone on the wall that I had to dial, the nurse who came in, what she did, the way I was holding my mom under her arms, looking into her eyes, going, "You have to hold yourself here while I go to the phone. I know you can't, but you have to." Like, pull one of those moments apart and write. And in that way, I feel I processed a lot of grief. Um, by seeing all the nuances and smelling the smells and remembering the hospital gown and the look in her scared puppy eyes, you know. And yeah, it makes me cry still, but I'm not sitting here like torn up about it. I'm just sad. I just miss her. There's not something else that's being stuffed down because I pulled it apart in my writing. I hope that helps.
I almost think we
Yes,
need grief retreats, where people can go and just,
I know.
because there's no space for that, when you lose, most of us have been through it, and just where you can go decompress and people get that you may not want to talk to people and you may just want to wallow in stuff and you may just want to write and remember. And we don't give ourselves time. We go back to work so quick, and we, you know, just go back to routine, and we don't allow ourselves to just feel for like a minute. It's sad. It's just, can you take some time? Can you go someplace? Maybe even have a personal retreat. I've had friends do this where they'll just go book a hotel room, even in their same town, and just go for a weekend if they can, you know?
For the month of January on Substack, I've actually invited 4 different authors to collaborate with me on the topic of grief.
Mm.
So that's going to be the month of January. drbenkim.com, DRBENKIM. I just get his email. He sends out one every other week or so. Really great, really insightful human. And really great products too. I use his Synbiotic and I use his enzymes. I alternate those with the doTERRA enzymes. They're great. One of the other things I want to talk about, those of you who are interested in Hive, this is starting to happen. I've got a number of applications. If you do want to apply for Hive, please do so. I'll put that link into the chat here. That's a small group that I'm running in the early part of next year. We'll see how it goes. But please feel free to apply. Thank you, Amy, for writing Dr. Ben Kim's link into the chat. And Amy, the death is not what is causing you pain. I want to just clarify that. The death happened, and when you think about that death, what you feel is pain. What you feel is sadness. What you feel is anguish. We give power to things and events and people that they don't actually technically have over us. We're just seeing something happen. We're having a feeling. There's some need that isn't being met. How human of us to feel this way. And then suddenly none of those feelings can actually get lodged in the body because we're expressing them and feeling them. Language has become a very important part of my life this year. Very human of us. And by the way, when I was talking about my mom, we got down to 117 participants, and that's her number. And it flashed on my screen. How about that? 117, that's her number. So weird. And not like, wow. Hi, Judy.
Mm.
Oh,
Mm.
Shahaf, thank you. Thank you
Thank
for joining me also in Substack, Shahaf. I'm looking forward to that. Those of you who are interested in more than a quarterly hangout, Substack is a really inexpensive and wonderful way to stay connected, and I'll be meeting live monthly, usually like 40-minute meetings with the paid subscribers there. It should be really sweet, and it's a lot less expensive than any other offer I've got. And will be beautiful. Yeah. And Michelle and I will see you. Yes, I'll put the link to Substack. Michelle and I will see you at the end of March. We're looking so forward to it. Oh my God, the fact that we get to do this again together is so delicious. Beatrice.
Yeah. And I just
Yeah.
want to share in the guidebook, there's a couple of more pages. Feel free to use them, to help you kind of plan your next steps. We also included kind of a cleanup, checklist. I always find it's helpful, to have some tangible things to look at. So just in each of the areas, we gave you some suggestions of things that, to clean up and prepare for the next year. Feel free to add in your own elements for all of those things, and feel free to come back to the guide. We'll make sure to have all of the links, so all the ways to work with Elena, the Substack, all the Hive, and all of that. I'll make sure to put that in the replay email so you have access to that. And of course, we'll have these notes, the slides, and the replay as well.
Thank you, guys. Michelle, what a pleasure.
So much fun.
Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you at the end of March. Thanks, Pete and Alessandra. Thank you so much. Good. Marta, thank you. Clara, Carrie, Margaret, Beatrice, Mira, Erin. Thank you so much. Little. See you in March with 2 new crew members.
Love it.
Good. Do not feel guilty, Lauren Albert, about that. That's what we have to do sometimes to take care of ourselves. Everyone, Julie, Lynn, Justina, Rachel, Takesha, Jurate, Maggie, Sarah, Zalia, Lynn, Gurjinder. All right. Thanks, guys. Great to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Don't worry, we're going to be sending you an email with all of these resources in a couple of days, within the next day or two. And you can feel free to just respond to the email and ask me things if you need to. Okay. Lots of love. Bye, guys.